This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Champions League pool here on Free Sports. The current state of affairs is as follows. Neil Raybone is through, 5 points out of a possible 6. He is qualified for finals night. Aaron Davies needs to beat Phil Harrison to be sure of joining him. If he does, we will go to a shootout to determine who finishes in first and second, as they will be tied on 5 points. If it's a draw, Aaron Davies will qualify through in second place outright, and Neil will qualify in first outright. If Phil wins, he qualifies in second place outright, and Neil in first. Hope you're following. Phil Harrison must win. Aaron Davies can draw. If Aaron wins, we'll have a shootout. There we have it, Simon. You excited?
Yeah, just trying to work it out. I think you're right. I think it's all a little bit complicated, but absolutely, yeah. Phil has to win, and you know that's got to be his focus. He's going to have to probably play some better pool than he's played so far tonight. He's not quite been at his brilliant best. Aaron just needs to keep doing what he's been doing, which is playing a very high level of pool. And actually, the fact that Aaron has the draw is a massive advantage for him. Especially in a timed match, it really gives him that extra bit of leeway. If he needs to run the clock down, he can do.
It's almost like starting a frame up, isn't it?
Yeah, it does have that sort of feeling to it.
It's such an advantage in this format. So Aaron, once again, just toying with the shot clock.
Red ball's
That's a
in play.
lovely shot to open his reds up. He's going to have to play a very, very good next shot, though. He wanted to be on one of those reds to the top of the table, I think. He's still got a potential to try and take these out, but it requires a very, very good shot next.
Yeah, he's actually played a good shot and not being rewarded, because not only has he not landed on another red or next easy red, he's got the shred at the bottom of the table, but the yellows have all pinged open, or that the only bad yellow there was there is now in the open, and the 2 yellows at the bottom of the table that were blocked for that red are out the way. So pressure now on him, but of course he comes up with a big shot to the bottom right corner, and he's going to try and chase this one out. I think the 2 reds in the middle of the table do plant to the right centre, and actually the 2 reds on the right hand side, if he gets right behind them, it wouldn't be the worst shot to play as a plant. He can play the one nearest the pocket first and then come back to the other one.
This would be a great one for Aaron to put down a marker in this match as well. It's a really tough clearance, this, if he can make it. Give him a big head start. Just wobbled. He's all right. It's interesting to hear Phil mention that the last time these two played was, I think, October, November time of last year in one of our 4-1 shootout showcases. That was over a half-an-hour match, if memory serves. It's a brilliant double from Aaron. It's not getting any easier, though. This is horrible queuing and a tough long pot.
Yeah, that was a brilliant match they played before, but it was Aaron that came out on top. Phil did play some good pool in that match, but just looked unsteady with the shot clock.
Didn't fancy it, did he, Aaron Davies? You could see he was just uncomfortable. He never wanted to bridge over that yellow. Initially tried to see if he could cue around it, and when he found out it wasn't, you could just see he wasn't 100% happy at all. That shot was already tough enough without having to cue right over and end of visit. And now, this is what Phil Harrison has made a career out of, is polishing off frames like this.
I have to say, when we caught a little glimpse of him in his chair when Aaron was at the table, he did look really frustrated for the, what is essentially a straight knockout match, really. He hadn't played a shot in the match, and he just sat in his chair and looked a bit annoyed and frustrated because Aaron had the opportunity. But this is why you have to sit there and be patient. Just wants to make sure he leaves himself plenty of angle on this last yellow to be able to play the position onto the 8 ball in whichever pocket he wants. I suspect it'll be to the bottom right hand corner pocket. He's played for it into the centre pocket, and he's played for it perfectly. Great shot from Phil Harrison.
Superb. And he's going to go 1-0 up in a game that he must win.
Frame.
Well, that's good stuff from Phil Harrison. Always expect players of his level to make those counter clearances when they're wide open, but you've still got to work your way through it and do it, and we've seen it throughout this competition. It's not always been the way. But he'll be pleased that he does get that first frame on the board, especially as Aaron Davies had the first opportunity. Now Phil Harrison looks a little bit more content in his chair now that he's got that 1-0 lead.
Second frame, Phil Harrison to break, leading 1 frame to 0. Time running.
Well, Phil Harrison breaks off here in frame 2. What a break that is from Phil. And while Phil works out what he wants to do with this first opportunity in frame 2, we're going to go and get a few words with a man that's already qualified, as Neil Raybone is with Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, Neil, through to finals night. How does that sound?
Yeah, great. Obviously, tough field tonight. Happy to get through.
And potential of a shootout still to come as well if Aaron wins this one, just determining some seedings. Is it nice to potentially have that as a bit of a way to spice off the night?
Yeah, it's obviously it's going to be a nice way to finish, because it's not going to mean whether I'll go through or not, really. So it's it'd be nice to have a go. I had a go early. It wasn't that quick, to be honest, but we'll see what happens.
And in terms of your feelings at the end of tonight, obviously you had a really tough group to get through in your group stages. You obviously had to get through, a really tough quarter-final as well. And whatever happens in the final, you've got nothing to fear, at least in this tournament.
No, I'm playing well. Like I say, I've had a first group was tough. Obviously, this was as tough tonight. I felt like I played well tonight. The first match I played really well, and then the second and third match I made a couple of errors, but I made some key clearances at good times, really, that obviously got me over the line, I think, tonight.
And just a quick word on the match that's currently going on at the moment, Aaron versus Phil, a real sort of winner takes all. Who are you fancying in it?
It's going to be a very tough match. They're both brilliant players. It's just all going to come down to whoever gets the chances, really. But whoever gets through is going to be worthy and well capable of winning the event. So it's going to be a tough match.
Well, we look forward to watching the end of it. Congratulations on your victory tonight.
That's great. Thank you.
Back to you, Si.
Nice pop from Aaron. Whilst we were getting that interview, we saw Phil Harrison, who wanted to take on yellows, and the only yellow he had to take on was that plant to the centre, and it went wrong. It was a difficult shot, but one you'd expect Phil to get. And it's given Aaron an opportunity to get back onto level terms very quickly. Stephen Jameson rejoins me. You'd be, if you're in Neil's shoes right now, you'd want the 6 red shootout, wouldn't you? Because there's a chance that in the finals, the formation or the format of the finals night, which is 2 sets, and if you're tied at 1 set all in, say, the semi-finals, then the match will be determined on a 6-raid shootout. So it'd be nice to have that sort of competitive go at it now when it isn't all on the line.
I thought that. That's why I asked him the question. I wondered if he was thinking that way, and it seems like he is. I think it's something that he'd love to have a go in a competitive setting.
Frey.
It matters in a sense, but it also doesn't really matter who comes first or second, because they know they're going to have to play someone world-class either way. So in that sense, it doesn't matter. He'd love to win the group, sure, but let's take a look at what's coming up next week, because he knows whatever happens, he's got one of these 4 to play, and you're not picking any of those 4, are you? They're all top quality.
Yeah, that's it. I don't think finishing top or second in your group has that much bearing on the night. Obviously, it's going to determine who you play, but there is no standout seed. There's 4 great players there, and whichever 2 of those 4 come through, it's going to be a really tough semi-final, and it's going to be 2 really great semi-finals, whoever we get.
Yeah, do join us on Free Sports next week for that, because that is set to be a showstopper. Same time, same place next week. And with the break, oh, that 8 ball's going close. Going really close. Not to be on this occasion.
Aaron's played really well tonight, he really has, but the break hasn't been his friend pretty much from right at the start. He just hasn't, even when he's made a ball, he's not been opening them up in a way where he's had a great chance to go at.
Yep, yellow. Time foul. You haven't got one, Phil, use it.
Oh, Phil wanting to use his extension.
Ball in hand. Time running.
Didn't have one. Oh, what an opportunity this could be for Aaron. He's also not got an extension. A mental error, we'll call that, from Phil. But this is still far from an easy clearance for Aaron Davies. If he can get these away, it would be fantastic, but it's tough. Just by having the entry point, cue ball in hand, does not guarantee this finish.
No, that is a bad error, though, from Phil to lose track of the fact you've already had an extension.
Do you think Aaron was playing those shots with an eye to, well, if I miss it, it's not the end of the world? It almost felt like he was almost forced into playing aggressive because he had cue ball in hand. Why wouldn't you? But the finish was tough to go out there, and I don't think it's one he'd naturally try and take on.
I think he probably was trying to. I don't think there's an advantage to him. He knows in the back of his mind he played it in a way where if he misses, he's going to cover the pocket. But also, it was one of those.
Just more where he was leaving the white ball, I guess.
Yeah, but it was such a congested little finish that he could pick it apart, and I sort of fancied him to make that clearance, actually, as tricky as it looked. But he's still, as you say, he's just still got complete control of this frame right now.
Yeah, it's opened up a fair bit now, that's for sure.
Still needs to play a good positional shot to just get in amongst those little cluster of 3. He'd love to be able to land on the plant to the left centre straight, but the red's right where it wants to be. So he plays into the yellow. What a precise positional shot that is. Just nudge into that yellow on a choice of the other 2. Absolutely fantastic.
Has been a joy to watch tonight, hasn't it? 4 top players. And the standard has just been off the charts, really. It has been top quality. And the joy of it all is got another one next week and another one the week after.
Yeah, still plenty more to come. Lots of exciting pool on the way. This has been a finish, and we've seen a lot of these sort of finishes tonight, that the player has just picked it apart and made it look really easy, but you don't have to be far out with these sorts of finishes to be nowhere. You know, that shot he played to cannon the yellow to land on the choice of 2 a couple of shots ago was so precise and so good.
Really takes so little. The amount of times we've seen, you know, finishes end, you know, because of the roll of a ball, or not quite the roll of a ball. That is the sort of finish where we see that happen a lot. You know, you can be an inch out and it's the end of visit, but Aaron Davies was perfect all the way through, and that's just the level you've got to be at. He is that good, and you have to be that good to beat Phil Harrison. You know, Aaron Davies has been there and done it at major tournaments. You know, he's a world champion at youth level, World Masters semi-finalist, he's runner-up this the most recent World Championships, all at, you know, a very tender age. You know, he's played this sport a long time, despite his tender years, and he is going to stick around at this level for a very, very long time, I imagine. Yeah,
and well, you heard Phil say it in his interview. You know, he's still young and he's still learning, and he's improving and getting stronger and stronger, and you know, he's really tracking in the right direction. He's already one of the best players in the world, and you know, he's got every chance to go on and win world titles and win lots of events.
I think our timing operator might have just been headshotted there. Goodness me.
He has gone very close to the timer. That's the first one of those we have seen in this whole competition. So cue ball off the table. It's amazing how often that actually can happen when you're hitting the second ball on the break and you try and overhit it. Now, what you'll see, the only slight difference from going off the table rather than potting the cue ball with this off the break is the fact that the cue ball can be placed anywhere on the table rather than behind the break line. So it is just a standard foul in that regard, which can make a difference because of the way these are laid out. If he'd had to play from behind the line, he may not have had such an easy ball to go at.
Just get the sense that Phil's starting to feel like it's not been his night. He's still in this match, but if Aaron was to win this frame, he'd be staring down the barrel, and Phil would need to win all of the remaining 3 frames if he could win them in that time to win through. Aaron is at this stage 1 foot in the final.
For whatever reason, he's just looked frustrated all night, hasn't he? Ever since he went behind against Neil Raybone, he's just not. He's been annoyed with himself. He hasn't been able to control the cue ball as well as he normally would, and he's allowed things to frustrate him. It's definitely fair to say that he's still not comfortable with 20 seconds a shot. Not that anyone really ever can be, although some players do a better job of it than others.
I thought he played really well in his match against Neil. It was generally a really, really high standard affair, which Neil, you know, just edged out in the end. But in his match against Rob, he won it, yes, but he was struggling. The breaks for both weren't working. Tough splits, both having to work really hard, and it wasn't quite coming out for them.
He won the match in more relief and more because Rob allowed him back into the match more than dominating it in the same way that he normally can dominate matches through his own great play.
Aaron here is about to go very, very close to qualifying for finals night. Was it ever in doubt?
Frame.
Super, super clearance from Aaron Davies, who, when it's mattered, has put in a top performance in this final match. He's been brilliant. Hasn't put a foot wrong.
It's so similar to his first group stage where he was just clinical, wasn't he? He just, you know, played the right shot at the right time. When he had an opportunity, when he decided to go game, he went game and made it. Still a hope for Phil Harrison. He's still a chance, especially with the chances of golden break. And we have seen the 8 ball in motion quite a bit tonight. We haven't seen a golden break, but it's certainly threatened. Although Aaron will like to make a ball here and not let Phil back to the table.
Yeah, this would be the nail in the coffin. Well, Phil Harrison has 5 minutes to win 3 frames. If he can do that, he'll qualify.
Yellow ball's in play.
any other result, and Aaron Davies is through. Phil Harrison is right up against it here. We have seen it happen, but it is so difficult. I just get the feeling that if anyone was able to knock out 1, 2, 3 decent clearances chained together, I wouldn't want many others than Phil Harrison to be going at it.
Actually happened to Aaron Davies, didn't it, in his first group stage? He just had to get a point out of his last match to qualify. Well, that's gone wrong for Phil, and W.E.P.F came up with 2 from 3-1 ahead, and W.E.P.F came up with 2 very quick finishes to put pressure on Aaron.
And that'll end it.
Aaron Davies and the match.
A cruel way to end it in the end for Phil Harrison, who goes out with something of a whimper. A 4-1 victory for Aaron Davies, courtesy of that foul. As Phil was desperately chasing the game and searching for a way back into it. But that's a tremendous victory for Aaron Davies, and a tremendous qualification from Aaron Davies as well. And it does mean that for the first time ever, we're going to have a 6-red shootout. Neil Raybone and Aaron Davies, they've both won their matches against Rob Warne and Phil Harrison. They drew against each other, so they are tied, and that means to decide our seedings for our finals night, we therefore must have a way to separate them. In the Champions League, that is a 6-red shootout.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to a 6-red shootout right from the start of this competition. When the organisers came up with it, I was interested to see how it was going to play out. We've had to wait till week 9 to get to see one, and we get to see one where both players are through, so there's slightly less pressure on it, but it will determine who finishes first or second. But just touching on Aaron, yeah, he was flawless again tonight, wasn't he? He played such a good level of ball all the way through. Didn't allow the fact that his breaks weren't quite working from annoy him. He just waited and took the opportunities when they came, and earned them with good safety and tactical play. And brilliant stuff from Aaron, and he deserves his place in finals night.
He absolutely does. Well, when we come back, we will have our very first 6-red shootout to determine who will win our group. One thing we do know is Aaron Davies and Neil Raybone have made it through to finals night. Do stay with us. The 6-red shootout is coming next. Welcome back to the Champions League pool. Well, we've had our quarter-final matches, and on top of the pile, after 6 matches tonight, are Neil Raybone and Aaron Davies. 2 fantastic performers, but we do have the slight problem in that they finished level on points. We do need some kind of seeding for our semi-final, so going to have a 6-red shootout, aren't we, Simon? What a way to end the night. It's been a great night of pool, and with a little bit less pressure, as they both know they're already qualified, we get to see a 6-red shootout as well. I think everyone's a winner, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been looking forward to seeing one of these, and we thought we'd get one in the group stages. We didn't. We're into the quarterfinals, and we do get one, and actually it's not quite the same sort of pressure because both players are through, but it should still be pretty exciting, and looking forward to seeing how it goes.
So this is how it's going to work. 6 reds are racked up in the triangle area. As soon as the cue ball is struck from the break line, we will start the clock. The time will stop as soon as that last red is down the last pocket. Then the next player will have a chance to beat that time. If he does, he wins. If he doesn't, he loses. Aaron Davies won the option to go first. He deferred to Neil Raybone, so it's Neil who will be kicking things off. Aaron will get to watch him go and then get a time to beat. Neil is setting it. Can't wait for this.
Yeah, and both players have had a bit of a practice. All the players were given an opportunity to go out there and practice it this afternoon. So they know what they've got to do.
There we go. So
you don't want the white to move. You want to keep the white as still as possible. So that's not the best break from Neil.
it's a great opening pot, Mines. This is where we see players under loads of pressure. Imagine if this was for a place in the finals night. That's how difficult it can be. Don't have to pot every ball. Of course, you can set things up if that's easier. A good sort of par score is around the 27-second mark. This will be a relatively slow one from Neil. A couple of misses and a couple of whites on the run. I think if you're Aaron, you're feeling pretty confident right now. Neil needs one more just to polish this one off. 43.89 to beat. And I think Neil will be relieved to get that one out of the way when it doesn't really matter, shall we say.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly a six-red shootout can get away from you. We've both had a go at it over the last few weeks, just practicing it and getting used to the format. And we've all experienced that when the first couple of shots go wrong, all of a sudden you can't get it back because the cue ball's running around the table. You've missed a couple of pots, and that was one that just got away from Neil. He was actually really unlucky. He parked the white in the centre of the table, and then it got kicked, and he had to wait for it to stop before he played his next shot. The rule is that as long as the cue ball and the ball you're playing have stopped, you don't have to wait for the rest of the balls to stop. But he did, and he never managed to get hold of that. So this should be a good opportunity for Aaron to beat that time and to go top of the group.
Personally, quite pleased because I think I have a time that's quite similar to Neil's registered, and that's just made me feel a whole lot better about myself. So Aaron with 43 seconds to beat then, and he's already got a great chance of doing that. This is the best way to do it that we reckon, the sort of iffy science that we've sort of had a look at here. It involves not moving the white much, so you can play more shots, keep that shot rate high. This will be a quick time from Aaron, especially if he nails this one first time. This is a hellish pot, but he's going to go pretty close, and he'll get it at the second attempt. Pretty good from Aaron Davies, and he will top the group. 32 seconds on the money. And Aaron Davies qualifies in first position ahead of Neil Raybone. A smile from the man they call Screech, and he can retire with his night done. And there we have it, ladies and gents. That's a six-red shootout. Oh, we might see a few more of those, I think, with a little bit more on the line, and might see a little bit more action. But that was great, loved that, and congratulations to both players, of course. They both played that with the knowledge that they were safely through to the quarterfinals, and now we can sort of analyse that, Simon. Two fantastic players, a fantastic finals night lineup so far with two of the best players in the world.
Yeah, I think both players played the best pool on the night. I think they set their stall out early. Neil did with 3 break dishes in his first win over Phil Harris, and Aaron was just so consistent throughout the whole night. And once they'd won their first matches, you just felt like the qualification was in their own hands. And okay, they ended up drawing their match against each other, but they knew going into their last match what they had to do, and actually they both just needed a point in the end, and they were able to get the job done. So the two very worthy finalists that we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Some fantastic performances tonight. Congratulations to both Neil and our group winner Aaron. They will face 2 from 4 of next week's quarter-final. It's set up to be fantastic. I think we're going to take a look at our lineup in just a moment. You've got 4 players here, Simon, who would be at home in any final. Sean Storey, Dave McNamara, Chris Melling and Michael Hill. You've got two of the greats who have ever done it at the bottom half of that one, and then 2 of the more up-and-coming players who've done fantastic bits and pieces at youth level and are just starting to enter their primes. It's all set to be a barnstormer next week.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think the match that's going to catch a lot of attention and is going to get a lot of people talking is when Michael Hill plays Chris Melling. But all 4 of these players have had to play some great pool to make it through to this stage, and we could see any 2 of those 4 go through. But obviously, Michael Hill and Chris Melling will get a lot more attention. Yeah,
and for good reason, let's be honest. But Sean Storey and Dave McNamara will certainly not want it to be the Melling and Hill show. I know that for a fact. All right then, ladies and gents, we're all done for week number 9 of the Champions League pool. We've had an absolutely brilliant time tonight. We hope you have as well, and we will see you same time, same place next week for our second quarter-final. It is all to play for. Who will join Neil and Aaron on finals night? We'll find out in 7 days' time. See you then.
This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.